What's going on, family and friends? It's day 3 of Consensus, and I'm standing next to the most mysterious man in the room. Well, actually, the most anonymous man, finally coming out and showing face. We've got NFA.crypto. Many of you know, who've been tuning into this channel, know exactly who this man is. Created one of the most engaging and educational and hip pieces of content that told the whole story of Ripple Labs and the evolution of the XRP ledger, why it was chosen.
Interesting to see like industry here now and them trying to learn about crypto and teach it in their way. You've been around since 2017, 2018. This was kind of like a pipe dream to see the president's kids speaking about crypto, and both of them are here, or both sons are here. So you can just feel like there's a lot of momentum, and you just kind of know what's coming, and it's more official than ever. So I'm like, okay, I bought my first XRP, and then it went to 350. It was absolutely mind-blowing, and it crashed on my face. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, like that like activated me. Like, who lied to me? Like, who lied to me? I like writing, and poetry has a funny way of translating well into rap. That's basically what it is. And it's just so fun for me to just make an absolute banger about something so like mundane as like transactions. Like, it's like in the crypto world.
Or Gary Gensler. What's going on, family and friends? It's day 3 of Consensus, and I'm standing next to the most mysterious man in the room. Well, actually, the most anonymous man, finally coming out and showing face. We've got NFA.crypto. Many of you know, who've been tuning into this channel, know exactly who this man is. Created one of the most engaging and educational and hip pieces of content that told the whole story of Ripple Labs and the evolution of the XRP ledger, why it was chosen. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you so much for taking this interview and inviting me over here.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't going to let you get out of this door without this interview, NFA. I tried to track you down to XRP Las Vegas, but now's the time here at Consensus.
Absolutely.
So what's the temperature like here at Consensus? And then we'll do a little comparison versus XRP Las Vegas.
Oh, well, the temperature outside is extremely hot.
Yeah.
And temperature in here is nice, but yeah, it's just a really good attitude. And it's interesting to see like industry here now and them trying to learn about crypto and teach it in their way. You've been around since 2017, 2018. This was kind of like a pipe dream to see the president's kids speaking about crypto, and both of them are here, or both sons are here. So you can just feel like there's a lot of momentum, and you just kind of know what's coming, and it's more official than ever.
It's a reality. It's happening right now. Like I told the Uber driver coming over to here today, he said, "What's going on in the conference?" I say crypto, but that's just a word. And he goes, "Why should I be paying attention right now?" And right next to us, right outside the car, was a Waymo, right? A self-driving vehicle. I'm like, that's why. We've got robotics, we got self-driving vehicles, we have agentic economies that need faster payments. The underlying infrastructure, which is AKA crypto, blockchain, it's happening right now.
I love that you said that. That's the thing. There's no real point in even talking about crypto unless you're going to talk about all the technologies that are converging with it. Automation, robotics, even like sustainability, like all these things just require like a new baseline, just a totally new foundation. And, to see that come together, like especially walking around at a conference like this, where it's like all walks of this industry are here and they're all converging on crypto, whether it be digital ID, biometrics, all these things, just like they come back to this foundational new technology that's going to basically run everything underneath it. I mean, the moving cars, the little delivery mobiles around here are kind of mind-blowing. They like stop for you. They're all polite.
Excuse me, sir. The environment here, it's showcasing the institutional convergence with what we know as DeFi and the bleeding edge of blockchain tokenization. I mean, it's great to see Ripple Labs and the XRP ledger branded all throughout this space, just like at XRP Las Vegas. How would you compare Consensus to XRP Las Vegas?
Well, first of all, it's probably like, I don't know, 15 times bigger. It's like massive. First, I had to wait 2.5 hours on day one just to get in, I love XRP Las Vegas. I love the XRP community. This is just more of like a melting pot of just like every kind of like, Fidelity's here, like JP Morgan, like,
DTCC.
Yeah, the DTCC was handing out NFTs. Like, you never thought that would happen either. Yeah. So it's just crazy to see all these different sectors in one place because of crypto. Yeah, you'll love to see it.
So what was your aha moment in crypto? I mean, you've produced such a compelling song, and so you're very talented. I'd love to even tap into that your creativity talents. But when was that aha moment for you?
In 2017, I bought my first crypto, and that was like, they really started hyping it up. And to watch Bitcoin go from 2K to 4K to 8, and I was finally like, I got to buy some of this. It was my first investment. And, then it went to 20 in 2018. And I'm in the chat boards with a 20K Bitcoin, and I'm like, reading, and they're like, XRP is this thing you should pay attention to. It was like 21 cents at the time. They're like, buy on Bitstamp. So I'm like, okay, I bought my first XRP. And then it went to, 350. It was absolutely mind blowing, and it crashed on my face. And in that moment, I'm like, okay, like that like activated me. Like, who lied to me? Like, who lied to me? My background's in media, kind of journalism and marketing. And I started really paying attention to the delivery of these mainstream media companies about crypto. They were the ones hyping it the most. I think a guy on Brian Kelly on CNBC like taught everyone how to buy it at 350. If you start paying really close attention, at least then, I think it's probably gotten better now. It started to become like journalism started to feel like in a lot of ways like agenda marketing. Sent me on this wild goose chase. Like I started reading into, global agendas, sustainability agendas. And I started seeing like for the first time in human history, like all 193 countries came together, signed a single agenda, and that agenda needs crypto. It's found like it needs to achieve the sustainability fourth industrial revolution that they're all backing quietly, like over here. You need this new technology. And at the same time, while you need this new technology that they're all unpromoting, they're doing these unpromoted presentations about it, the mainstream media is telling you it's for terrorists and things like that. Well, the same people funding, this operation over here that requires crypto, they also have their hand on these mainstream media companies. So it's like there is this like disconnect completely. And then you keep following it. You see people like Jamie Dimon's going to fire people for buying Bitcoin in 2019. And next thing you know, like he's backing housing loans with it. Like it was that story over and over again. It just really became this thing of like, I can't get my information from the TV. And in fact, it became a sort of contrarian indicator that sent me down just like really trying to find where the real information was. And for me, that was on the Internet Archive, like old books, watching conference presentations from 2014. And these guys are there's like 25 people in the room, and they're saying, read these books, read these 1993 books. And again, like go back to Bill Gates, he was like calling digital wallets in 1993. So it's just been a really long plan, I feel. And, it gets to the place where you stick around long enough, you meet enough people, you realize it's going to be a thing. Yeah. And for me, anyway, that was all the conviction I needed to basically not have to be a victim of the FUD any longer. Like I wasn't triggered in a way that would make me even consider it. Instead, I would just try to go directly to the source. Just to learn as much as I could. Yeah. And, who knows, maybe we're not right, but at least we're like, doing due diligence. That's what I feel is true due diligence.
Yeah. Do you believe that even through what we're doing here right now, these independent news outlets, do you think that's almost setting the stage or almost manufacturing this movement?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you really, again, like when you're talking about crypto, you got to consider all the technologies around it. And with automation and robotics, and, they're talking about less jobs. I mean, that's a euphemism. Like there's going to be way less jobs, right? Or at least the traditional jobs. And they need to form a new money. They need to take money from being like a unit of like effort for $1 to become more of a behavior mechanism. Like we're going to airdrop you money now, like a UBI system. Like if you're going to build all this technology that takes everyone's jobs, you really got to be considerate of like how you're going to let this economy function. You got to build something totally new. And so I do believe there'll be a UBI. People will receive money for their basic needs. And that is a good thing. I mean, it's just inevitable. I think technology advancements are inevitable. And with that will come, I think Elon Musk said it'll be more about hobbies and like art. And so like I think there'll be more like beautiful art. Already the kids now are getting used to receiving like credits to sort of tip their favorite creators. And even if you ask, like I got a buddy who's a school teacher, he teaches children, and what they all want to be is a YouTuber. It went from like a baseball player. Now they want to be YouTubers. They want to create. And that's kind of where all the attention goes now. You've seen it. It's just more creators. It's just nonstop conversation and really just like, hardening information in that way. That's why I love X. It's like you can't really tweet anything without opening it up to criticism and people telling you you're wrong. And I think it's just going to result in pure information, better information. But, we're going to go through this crazy phase of misinformation and all this wild, it's the Wild West as far as that's coming. But yeah, I think the creator economy will be, it's here at the same time that UBI is getting ready. And I do think that most people they'll get to experiment with art for the first time. They'll get to communicate, their personality themselves through art, because I mean, they're not going to be doing the old jobs. You'll have a robot mowing your lawn any minute now, like things like that. So
I'm actually not Ray Fuentes. I'm a robot.
sometimes I wonder.
That's actually how I'm all over the place at the same time. NFA. So we've talked about this conference comparing to the others. Creative economy. One thing we haven't talked about is your true passion or focus around XRP. What does XRP mean to you?
XRP for me, it's really just following XRP as, they call it the North Star now. But like if you treated it as your North Star, 5, 6, 7 years ago, it sort of gave you like a different lens of news. Like it allowed you to kind of have like an edge, I guess, in receiving this news. Like, especially as the lawsuit was concerned, like if you see the entire US government, or what it felt like at the time through Gary Gensler and those things, like telling you, you're wrong, it's a security, it's never going to be used. If you have that conviction that it would be used, that it was the special technology that will enable these things, you didn't have to get sucked into that world. Like you got to bypass it. And for me, like it really was just like magical glasses. I think I tweeted one time where you got to kind of see into how things worked. I think I said one time, like, if you pay close enough attention, XRP kind of helps you see how things really work. And, as far as like the world stage goes and things like that, it just, for me, it was like one of the biggest life lessons. It tied into this media journey of just being lied to, of being fudded, and you kind of get a feel for how the game is played. Yeah. And that's just me assuming. I could be wrong. Not financial advice. That's just my gut feel. And the theatrics of sort of the rollout of something at this scale, it just felt like the most valuable, like what's the word for it? Like invitation to kind of seeing past it for me.
So you think this is maybe a coordinated effort?
I mean, it would have to be. Like, how could it not be? How could like the establishment of a new global economy not be coordinated at some capacity? Many things I believe are real. There still are random things like, a wrench will get thrown in there every now and then. But at the same time, like this is the most important thing in the world. Like you have to be coordinating with these countries. There's no other way around it. How else are you going to build something at this scale? I feel like XRP is like this agnostic layer that isn't for any particular country. It's a public blockchain. It's just creating that level playing field so that we can get all this other cool technology going. And of course, there's competitors and there's other things like that. But I've always just been a believer in XRP.
Yeah. So when we're talking about this coordinated effort, do you think that's why maybe there's riddles in this ecosystem?
I just love the riddles. I think I started just picking up on them too after it got old after a while to follow, for 3 years in. It's like, okay, new partnership. Like the partnership thing was never ending. It was like and the price too. Like those are the main pieces of content in the community. And no hate to anyone doing technical analysis. Like I'm a big fan of Blockchain Backer. I think he's the best at it. There's just like this like monotony to it. It gets exhaustive. And after a while, you search for other information. And so like when I tell people I have like a Patreon, and things like that, I'd say most people in my group are, 5+ year holders that simply just want alternative information. And, crypto and cryptography is very similar to the art of riddling and hiding secret messages that can be, that can basically be uncovered by those with the right information. And again, like what's really interesting too is this information could be in plain sight for years. You wouldn't ever pick up on it. And then in retrospect, years later, with the right knowledge that you'd built, it would mean something different to you. Yeah. And like, why not? Why wouldn't there be like brilliant, people that are further along in their journey, especially cryptographers, kind of leaving behind like little like secrets, little esoteric breadcrumbs. Like it might not even, and I don't even believe it's about moon dates or whatever anyone wants to make it about. It's just really like challenged me to think outside the box, to learn other things. And, it's made me more well-rounded of a thinker, and I just really appreciate it. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not that, but what the hell? It's really led me to just to have a better understanding.
Yeah. Well, seeing the excitement, the passion in your eyes, and being on this, fortunate to be along this journey with you, I feel like there's, to your point, there's just way too much happening all at the same time too many coincidences that it's just, it's it's happening. It's real. I mean, you saw on the billboards hosted by Ripple. It's happening on XRP Las Vegas. Hopefully, if you don't mind, maybe we'll put this uncut version in your Patreon for the benefit of your members.
Love it.
Yeah, and then I'll have to polish out the ums and ahs for the global audience here, but the uncut version could be for you guys.
Oh yeah, and you guys got to follow Ray Fuentes. I mean, he's out here like this dude walks so fast. He's just like boom, boom, boom. It's great to hang out with Ray at these things. I'll tell you that.
You're right. My stride has changed in the past few months. Anyways, for those in the audience that would love to get on the same page as you, where's a great place to start? Obviously, our Patreon.
Yeah, well, I'm on X, NFA.crypto, and that's DOT for dot. And then on Patreon, it's just NFA Research Group.
I'll be sure to copy the links in the comments and descriptions below. Is there anything that we haven't discussed, NFA, that you think this global audience would appreciate?
I think you nailed it.
I think we did.
I think it is happening. You know, and I wouldn't get caught up on, you know, the now and the price and whatever. I just think like build your conviction in other places, because the price is never going to build your conviction. It doesn't even make sense. Like you're not holding because of like what the price is. I mean, and if you are good, like whatever, if you're a day trader, good for you, play your game. But I think like the best thing to do is just to get the most well-rounded understanding you can. You know, go into spaces on X, like listen to people who know what they're talking about, talk about it, go to conferences, meet people. And that's the other thing, like they're real people and they're really good people. Anything you can do to build your conviction outside of price, I think is the best advice I could give.
Yeah, well,
still not financial advice.
Yeah, but still not financial advice. One of the best advice that I ever received was in my acting career in college, when my professor or the coach at the time says, "Hey, when you ever see somebody that is at the highest within their industry, like a professional, like an A-Rod who spoke today, go up and talk to them, because they're probably made it to the top for the right reasons, and they're a good person." And so that very next day, on my way to that acting class, I saw Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong walking down the street. So I make a U-turn, pull over, say, "Hey, Tommy, can I talk to you?" Startled. "Sure, just get out of the middle of the road." And so I talked to him for about 25 minutes on the side of the road before going to my class. That's what it takes, just to take advantage of those opportunities. I just bumped into Michelle McCurry, who works with Andy Sheckman at Miles Franklin. When you see those moments, you got to strike and say, "Hey, can I interview you? Can we collaborate? Can we connect?" Otherwise, those are missed opportunities, and that's time is money.
Absolutely. And that's another thing. Like the best way to trust someone is, or to find out if you can trust someone, is to trust them. Like it's along those lines. Like these people are good people, in my opinion. And there's this like weird, I don't know if it's like nuanced propaganda or just like new age propaganda to think everyone's like an elite evil person. But like that's another thing about riddlers. Like, why wouldn't there be these good people that want you to know things that they can't outright tell you? And it's been like that since the dawn of time. Like so many of the most like well-known writers in history have said the same thing. Like things have to be said or communicated that can't outright be said, and it's there for you, you know. And these people are there to help you in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, sure, some of them will blow you off, but whatever. Like, I think for the most part, it's human nature to want to help. I really believe that.
I'm incredibly thankful to have locked in your first ever on-camera interview. It's been quite the privilege, NFA. I'll be sure again to copy the links to the comments and descriptions below to your X account, to your Patreon, so those in the audience can participate and hear a few jingle jangles that you produce on the regular. What inspires you to make that content? If you don't mind me asking, last question.
Well, I've always just had a passion for like poetry, really. I like writing. And, you know, poetry is a funny way of translating well into rap. That's basically what it is. And it's just so fun for me to just make an absolute banger about something so like mundane as like transactions. Like, you know, it's like in the crypto world.
Or Gary Gensler.
Yeah, it's just fun. You know, and the thing about Gary Gensler was like, I had a whole song like, what if Gary was a good guy? He energized us all to like fight and learn. And it was like this crazy amount of passion that was like pulled out of us to say like, you know, screw you, like you're wrong. But what it did was set the edge for us to go prove him wrong. And to prove him wrong, to figure out how to prove him wrong was educating us in a weird way, so that you don't know what's good, you know, you don't know what's bad. And again, I just love writing music. I love making music videos, and I just love like entertaining in a space that just desperately needs that entertainment.
Otherwise, it'd be so dry. And because at the end of the day, we're just talking about software, tech, and it's nothing without the people around it. And so anyways, you're a great person, NFA. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Have a great time in Consensus.
Oh, man, thank you so much for the interview, Ray. You're the man.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.